beginning.
Right. So, could we talk about your parents first?
Yeah.
Okay. So your parents lived in Baden from the very beginning?
Baden, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they come from elsewhere, or they?
They come from my
Your father
was born in Baden, Baden.
Okay. Your father and your mother?
Mother in Miskolc, Hungary.
And she came to Baden.
In Baden, yeah.
Then she got married.
Then they got married.
Did they know each other beforehand? How did they meet?
For Chartres.
They had a shot.
Yeah.
How else would you meet somebody?
In Europe it was.
Everybody had a shot.
She came from, she has got an uncle in Vienna. Und der Schat und der Onkel gave her introduced her to my father. And so they met her. He went to Miskolc once, and she came back to Vienna.
The uncle knew your father, or
Uncle from her father.
the uncle from hers?
Her father.
And how did he know your father? Or he
was looking for someone, so he contacted.
Okay, so we were talking about your parents. So your father was in Baden. Your father was in Baden from the very beginning.
Born in Baden in 1876. He was born.
How old was he when he got married? You know.
He was already 30 years old.
And then when they got married, they lived in Baden.
He lived in Baden. Yeah.
And what was his business?
Business was shoe store. He was working in the shoe store, and then he started by himself, and he has got a shoe store.
Do you remember what your parents looked like?
What?
Do you remember what your parents looked like?
My parents
Yeah,
looked like?
were they tall?
No, they were my size.
Your size?
Maybe a little bit smaller, both. The same size.
Mm-hmm.
And they had what color hair?
Color hair. My mother was black, and my father was black, but he's got a red bar. Reddish bar.
Reddish beard.
Reddish
He had a beard?
A little bit.
He kept the beard?
We have a picture there.
I'm getting some pictures.
Okay, yeah, we'll put those in. He had just the front, just like a goatee.
A little bit.
He schnitzed the beard.
Here and here, like the Hungarian shoes. They're all like in one class, the same picture all over. You saw a beard with a little beard, and you would see the Hungarian shoe.
The shoe store, was your father opened it, or was a family business?
No, he opened it. He started it, and it was a nice business. Working. My two brothers was working there, and two sisters was there, and 5-6 people were working there.
Why weren't you working there?
But
Yeah.
I want to have something else. No, it wasn't too much for 3 families. Young people wouldn't be enough.
But wasn't your other brother younger than you?
One was younger, one was older.
So wouldn't you have been to work there before your younger brother?
I wasn't working at all there. I was working in a different line. I was working in millinery, in silk and millinery supplies.
But instead of your younger brother starting to work there, why didn't you start to work there before him?
I didn't like it. I didn't like the shoe store. I didn't like to be one of them. You know, I want to go for myself. Worked for myself. Was working in a big store in Vienna. The name was Dulden und Deutsch, a very famous store. They supplies silk and supplies for all over Europe. It was a big store.
That was all for hat supplies.
And he was Shama Shabbos. Was a very rich man. It was big business. And I was working there, and then after a while, I want to work for myself, and I've got a partner who was in the same business, and we start together a business.
How old were you then?
I was 22, 23. Yeah.
How long did it take to become like licensed to be an official milliner? Like, what was the process that you had to go through?
4 years Praktikant and 3 years, 7 years it takes.
And were you paid when you were an apprentice?
The first year not. First year not.
And you had to get a license from the government to do it?
To open up a store, I have to have a license.
Uh-huh.
It was even hard. I didn't get a license to this time because my partner got a license. Got a very good lawyer. It was a cousin of his, and he got him his license. It was a very restricted thing to get a license. Very hard. It was not like here, everyone can start for himself and start something. You couldn't do it. You have to have protection, protection, someone who works for you, who gives you. He was a good lawyer. But he didn't want to give it for me too. He could make it only for one. He gave some money for someone, You couldn't get it in a real plain way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When you were younger, when did you start going to yeshiva? I know there wasn't any yeshiva in Baden.
I wasn't in yeshiva. I was raised in Baden-Baden with very poor education, no education at all. It was a one-day Sunday school. Sunday was went, and during the week you didn't do anything. So I was 12 years, 13 years old. I could barely daven, So my father sent me to Schopron, Ödenburg. So I went there to school. I went with 10-year-old boys and children because I didn't know much.
And how old were you then?
I was already 14.
And that was the first time that you went to some type of...
Yeah, I was a half a year in Schopron and then I was a year in Pressburg. Pressburg, I knew already something. It was a yeshiva. They called it yeshiva, but it wasn't a yeshiva.
Do you remember the name of the yeshiva?
No. They called it the Sotter Teure. It was a Talmud Teure.
These were both in Baden, or they were?
No, in Bratislava I went.
Ah.
From Schopron they went to Bratislava. There I was also 1 year. And there I learned a little bit, but Komisch, a little bit Russian.
And what type of community was living in Baden? Were there many from families?
No,
or?
very few from. There was 200 Jewish families, one around 80 stores, and from the 80 stores were 3 Shabbos.
And your store was one of the only stores that was closed on Shabbos?
The 3 more stores was closed.
And that's all?
That was all. But there were a few more Orthodox Jews. They were Polish people. They came from Russia, from Poland during the war. And it was rich people. They bought villas in Baden,
Baden was considered
It's a very beautiful city. A resort place.
Mm-hmm.
You have a picture from Baden. In the album.
No, I don't find much from Baden.
Oh, yeah, in the album.
Yeah, Europe, August
Yeah.
19. I have something. I have such a mess.
So growing up in Baden wasn't it wasn't a life like in New York. There wasn't much orthodoxy
No,
in the
it's no
streets to
Orthodox
see.
at all.
So how many were there?
But later on, when I was already grown up, we got an Orthodox rabbi, the Karlebach. And the young people started to be already better off, they've got a better school. But for elderly people, they didn't have anything.
Mm-hmm. When did he come, Rabbi Karlbach? How old were you?
Karlebach, it was in the year 36 or 36, 37.
And before he came, there was no Orthodox rabbi?
He was a rabbi. He was a so-called Orthodox rabbi. But he was a Rabbi Reich. He was a brother of a very famous rabbi. He was a chief rabbi from Budapest, Reich, Koppel Reich.
His brother was the chief
His
rabbi.
brother, he was Orthodox. He was even a member from Oberhaus, from
Parliament.
Parliament. He was a very persönlicher. He was a very good rabbi too, or rabbi, but he wasn't. He was a businessman. He was talking with people and so, but he was a good speaker. But then Karlebach came, and he was a first-class speaker, wonderful speaker. Also Karlebach, there were 7 or 7, or 8 Karlebach in all over Germany, in Altona, in Leipzig, in Köln, all over. Yes, thank you.
Was there one Orthodox shul in Baden?
One Orthodox shul, and in the Orthodox synagogue, we have got a small stubel. It was the special medrash. And there the Polish people, the Orthodox, the super Orthodox, the Hasidim, were all with packages, and they've got around 20 families. They were all separate. They didn't mix with the Germans. They were only in this place, and they davened there.
And where did you daven?
We daven in the big synagogue.
And how many people daven in that shul?
Shabbos were maybe 100 people.
And from
Weekdays there was sometimes no minyan, sometimes minyan. It was not easy to have a minyan on weekdays.
And do you remember anything about your grandparents?
My grandparents, I don't remember much. I've got a grandfather. He was sick. He was, when I remember, he was 4 or 5 years old. He was wheeled down.
What was his name?
Jacob Weissmann, Jacob Weissmann.
He lived with your family in Baden?
He lived in the same house. The house where we lived, he has got an apartment by himself, and he was 2 daughters. They took care of him. They married later, after he died, you know. They married. But before, they were living with a grandfather. He was a sick man.
So these were your aunts?
Huh?
Your aunts?
My aunts, yeah. My father's got 4 sisters and 1 brother. And 1 brother went to Germany and has got a lot of children. And this one son was Leo Weissmann, the oldest of them. And he brought me here to America, Leo Weissmann.
He was here? How did he get to America?
Yes, got an uncle here.
He had an uncle. And when did he come over? Before the war?
No, after the war.
After
Not before the Anschluss. He was, Anschluss was in 38, and in Germany was Hitler already in 33. And he came over. He was, I think he came to America at 35 already. But he sent me an affidavit, but wasn't strong enough. So one of his brothers, his brother-in-law, sent a second affidavit. And I will tell you how I got the affidavit. He has got the choice to give me, or he has got only big affidavit. So he could get affidavit for me or for my brothers. And Leo Weissmann came to Baden as a visitor. And he was he liked to swim. And I was always inclined to swim. I was a very good swimmer as a young guy. And I went with him swimming. And there we got very friendly with it. And that's the reason he gave me he could give it to me, my older brother, the other brother.
But he was closer to you.
He gave it to me. So my likelihood of swimming saved my life.
Wow.
The water.
Wow. So he would come visit from Germany?
He came to visit once or twice a year.
Once or twice a year?
Yeah.
And then, so he was one uncle. And then you had the two aunts who lived with you in the house, right?
No, not in the house. The 2 aunts were living in the same house. This house was were around 9 families living in. It was an apartment.
Oh, I see, the same building. I
and
see.
in the same building my grandfather used to live.
Okay, so the 2 aunts were living with the grandfather.
Grandfather, yeah.
Okay. And then how many other siblings did your father have?
4 more, 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
One lived in Bratislava, in Pressburg.
What did he do?
What?
What did he do?
He got not a good business, frankly. He was working with liquors and so he wasn't very He was an Orthodox Jew, but no businessman.
Okay, so that, and then there was another.
The other hand, he was in wine business too. He lived in Shadra Uhel.
Where is that?
What? In Hungary.
That's
Shadra
in
Uhel. The other uncle.
Mm.
He has still one son who lives in Israel.
What was his name?
Gross. And the son lives, his name is Soli Gross.
B'Shalom.
But I cannot talk with him because he speaks only Hungarian. We visited him in Israel. It was no conversation. I couldn't talk with him.
Okay, so that was in that apartment area was your family and your grandfather and the two aunts.
No, later they moved away. When the grandfather passed away, the two girls married, and we only lived in this apartment.
I see. Okay. And where did they move to when they married?
One to Bratislava, Požon. Bratislava has three names: Požon, Bratislava, and Pressburg. The German name was Pressburg. The Hungarian name was Bratislava. No, but Požon. Požon. And the Czech name was Bratislava. And now the name is Bratislava. It's a very famous town. It's around 100 miles away from Vienna. It's Czechoslovakia. It's the main street, from the Slovakia. Where big Rabonim sein in Bratislava. Some Säufer, Xav Säufer, big Rabon.
So that's where one of them moved there,
and
then the other one, where did she move?
Moves to Shadra Uhel.
Where's that?
In Hungary.
Oh, that's the one we were discussing. Gotcha. Okay.
And do you remember their married names?
From whom?
From the two sisters, the
Yeah,
two
one
aunts.
was Gross, the older one was Frankel. Then his third sister, he was living in Vienna. Name is Feldheim. This is the famous Feldheim family who have the
Philip
bookstore.
mother.
Philip Feldheim was the founder from the family.
When you were in yeshiva, where you said you were in also in Bratislava, in that area. So there, it was a very vibrant community then when you were there. So did you meet any of these big rabbanim when you were there?
What?
When you were there, you saw these big rabbanim walking around?
It was only the rabbi, the youngest son from Xav Säufer. He was Akiba Schreiber. The name was always Schreiber, Säufer, Schreiber.
So he was there and you saw him then?
It's got a big community, a big Besser Medrash, a couple of hundred, a couple of thousand people. And in Bratislava, but Jewish life, you never saw it. There was on the Shabbat, but 10 different shiurim. You could, if you listen to, there was one rabbi, there was Rabbi Unstoffer. People went to him, he was darshan in a big turnhall. In a big school, and so always full. There was he has a shear about what is the name in the summer? What you learn?
The Pirkei Avos.
Pirkei Avos was very famous. Pirkei Avos.
How long were you there in yeshiva there?
In Bratislava I was only 1 year. But later I was again in Bratislava. I learned skin business. Skin business. I was there other 2 years in Bratislava. That's why I know Bratislava quite well. Bratislava. It was a beautiful town.
So when was that you were there again?
I was already 16 years ago.
16 years old. 16. And when were you in yeshiva there? That was earlier?
No, I was only...
14, for 1 year.
Only in business. I learned the skin business. I went to a Shia in the evening, but didn't do much.
Right. Right. Okay. And could you describe your house a little more? You said there was a complex. It was a few apartments At
Yeah,
different
9
people?
apartments. There was one big house, one in the front. There was there was a big apartment, was our apartment, there was the owner. And down was on both sides were 2 smaller apartments. And then it was like a U.
Like a U, like a
U.
like a horseshoe.
And
Okay.
other sides were every 3 apartments on each side. But it's 9 or 8 or 9 apartments altogether.
And those were rented out to other people.
Rented out, but it was very poor in Austria. It was a meter shoots. You can, it was, you have to pay, it was everything was organized for the government. You get so much, and it didn't pay the expenses.
Mm. So it wasn't a profitable.
It was not profitable. You lose money in the year. You paid every year. And 2 of the people in our apartments was poor Jews. They didn't pay any rent. Couldn't throw them out either.
You couldn't throw them out because you didn't want to throw them out?
No, you
didn't do
couldn't.
it to a Jew.
You couldn't do it to a Jew.
Whole community would stone you when you do this. It was not profit.
Right.
It was a very proper community.
Yeah.
Did the Jews stick together very much in
What?
that community? Did the Jewish family stick together?
They went together, but.
And it was a very tight-knit community, like everybody knew what was doing by the next person?
No,
Or everybody-
everyone was himself.
Themselves.
And was there a shochet and a moel and?
Yeah,
all these
there
people?
was a shochet there too.
So he.
Moel came from out of town, from Vienna came a Moel.
Mhm.
And the shochet was Orthodox?
The shochet was Orthodox, was Hungarian shochet. The Yid is paid was a very Orthodox shochet.
And that was his full-time job. He was the
Yeah,
shochet.
the community has got money.
Mhm.
The community was living from the dead ones. You know, people came to Baden to die. It was yeah.
Because that's where the baths were.
People came to Baden was a beautiful town, and there were sanatoriums. You know what a sanatorium is, and big places.
Health.
Right?
Spas.
And people came there and passed away, and it was the community Rebbe Kaddish. It was very good organized. They asked a lot of money, and people paid.
And people paid it.
It was the most income from the Jew community. There was a lot of people lived from the community. There was a rabbi, and the shochet, and the assistant rabbi, and the secretary, and people in the office. So
The shochet was paid by the community. He wasn't paid every time you went
no,
to him.
for the community.
From the community.
But, yeah,
And-
I think you didn't pay something.
And then when you wanted meat, you'd bring him a chicken, and he'd chef it for you.
Chicken,
Did cows also, or?
The cows was this was already big business. Schochten.
So how did you get beef? Where did you get cow meat from?
It was from Vienna. It was
From Vienna.
Schochten.
Mm-hmm. Were all the people that came to Baden at the end of their lives, they came from Vienna or from all over Europe?
All over Europe. From
All over Europe.
Austria, from Hungary, from all over, from Poland. All rich people. They spent the last years in Baden. It was a beautiful park, and music, and all kind of entertainment. And always to make life smooth.
It was like Miami.
What?
It was like Florida.
Yeah, Florida. Like this.
Did you like living in Baden?
Yeah, it was very nice living.
It was a good lifestyle?
Good, nice lifestyle. It was a good lifestyle.
Once you started working, was there enough parnassa for you?
For me,
Yes.
I was working in the Milner business. I started with this. First, I was working by the firm Dulden und Deutsch. And then I went for myself with my partner. The name was Kleinfeld. And we made a panos. But we started, we were 2 or 3 years in business for ourselves. So we built it up. We got customers. We bought the same place where the Deutsch, the Dulden und Deutsch, the company got us too. We could be cheaper, you know. We
Undercut.
uh,
How old were you when you started on your own, when you went with your partner?
I think 21, 22.
21.
Yeah.
And by that time you were still living at home, or now you lived in Vienna?
I lived in Vienna. I've got an apartment in Vienna. I was eating in a restaurant every day.
You were eating in a restaurant every
Yes,
day?
every day.
Better than cooking for yourself?
I couldn't cook for I was in I've got one room. It was a business for people. They rented out a room for one person. Sometimes I ate by the people where I was kosher.
How many, were there lots of restaurants in Vienna? Or?
In Vienna, the kosher restaurants, very few.
Very few?
Yeah, no, it was a very good restaurant. From Hungarian restaurant, Polish restaurant, all kinds of restaurants. All kinds.
And then so that was 20, and then how long were you in business in millinery with your partner?
3 years, or 2.5, 3 years. Then was Hitler comes, and I went to immigration. I went to Belgium.
What year was that in?
What?
What year was it in that you stopped your millinery business?
I think in 38. 38, no. I stopped going there. 1940, I think.
1940. Is there more Baden stuff we have to cover before we move on? Were your parents happy that you were starting off on your own in Vienna, or were they sad that you weren't staying in the shoe store?
They were happy. After all, it wasn't enough for 3 families. They were happy that I was out of business.
Anything else? Baden? How many siblings did you have? In Baden? How many brothers and sisters?
I've got 2 brothers.
2 brothers.
One older and one younger.
Mm-hmm.
And they perished during the Holocaust.
Now they were both back in Baden. They were both working in the shoe store. You said, right?
Yeah, both were working in the shoe store.
How much older and how much younger than you were then?
2 years always.
2 years older and 2 years younger.
2 years younger.
Were you very close with them?
It was quite a good relationship.
So then you said then in 1940 or so.
I went to Belgium and then to America.
Okay. Now, what happened in Austria in 1940? That was when
Hitler came.
Hitler came.
1938.
38 was when he came?
38, yes.
Okay, I have to know my history better. So 38 was when Hitler came, and then you were still around there for a little while?
Well, took me to Dachau. And from Dachau I got out, and after they gave me time, 30 days I have to leave the country. If I don't leave the country, they put me back to Dachau.
Let's backtrack for 1 second. In 1938, when Hitler came in, what exactly happened?
Happened all the Jews got together in jail.
They put all the Jews into jail?
All the younger Jews.
What ages?
I think from 18 years old. 18 till 35, 36.
So you were put into jail with your brothers?
The brothers.
And
my brothers went out after a short time. Some people they let out, and me sent to Dachau.
And your brothers were not sent to Dachau?
Sent to Dachau, no, was it.
And how about the women? Were any of the women put into jail, or they were not put into jail?
Women were sent to jail, but not like men.
Where were these jails? They were in Vienna?
In Vienna, and then from Vienna I came to Dachau. Dachau was a big concentration camp. It was a big camp.
How long were you in the jail?
I was in jail. Was only a few days, but in Dachau I was 3 months.
Now, at this point, you were living in Vienna, and your family was in Baden still.
Baden, yeah.
So they put everyone in jail at the same time, or they went from town to town?
Everyone was it's the same time, but in every town there was put.
So were you together with your family when they put everyone in jail?
First I was together, and then they made certain people and there was no problem how to get there. I don't know how they choose the people or they don't choose it.
Yeah.
How long did it take from when the Germans first came till all the Jews were rounded up and put into jail?
Very fast, very fast.
Did you hear about Kristallnacht? That's when it happened. That's when
So, in other words, the Nazis invaded Austria,
Austria,
and then within days,
yes.
within days.
In Austria was very bad. In Germany, there were a couple of years they left the Jews there.
Mm.
In Austria, right away,
Did you know that or did you talk with your family about the fact that the Nazis might come into Austria? Were you certain they would?
Everyone knew already how it goes.
Everyone knew already that the Nazis, once they came in, would round up the Jews?
No, they took me.
How did you know? From reading newspapers?
They put me in jail. I know it.
No. but before the Nazis came into Austria, when they were still in Germany, did people know that when the Nazis came into Austria?
No, they didn't thought that it's so fast, because in Germany they let the Jews stay for a couple of years.
So
but in Austria they came right away and took over.
So was that surprising that they did it right away?
Yeah, it was surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, okay.
And did you know at that time when you were in jail where the rest of your family was?
When I was in jail, I thought, no, I didn't know. But when I was in Dachau, I wrote to my parents and I got answers back, you know. I've even a card here, I don't know.
I don't know where it is now. I can't find a thing you have such a mess.
That's surprising that they allowed you to write letters out of Dachau.
Exactly what to write.
Yeah. Now, from jail, you said you were in jail for a few days.
From jail, they put me to Dachau.
How did you get from jail to Dachau?
With with transport.
And trains.
Train, yeah. And this train, when they was out, when they came to Dachau, they threw out from every place, they take dead people during the night, during the tortured people, killed people. It was awful.
In Dachau, you're saying?
No, even on the transport.
On the transport.
From Vienna to Dachau.
How many people were in each car?
It was full.
Packed or
packed? Packed.
How long was the trip to Dachau?
Dachau was, I think, 10 hours.
Did the train stop at all?
Huh?
Did the train stop, or was it continuous straight till Dachau?
It was one way.
It did not stop along the way?
No, it went.
And did you know any people in the train with you, or?
There was people, some,
You know.
yeah.
Tell them about Egon.
Who?
Egon. When you were pulled out, he picked you up.
Egon Hofmann.
This is someone who was in the train with you?
There was some from Baden, a friend of my brother was there too.
And what happened?
I was I marched one gave me a clap on the head.
Who? SS?
SS man, yeah. And I fell down, and a friend helped me to go up, to get up.
And why did he hit you?
Huh?
Why did he?
No reason at all.
No reason.
Well, you're a Jew. You're a Jew already. you get hit.
This was on the way into the train or out after the train?
It was already after.
When you were coming.
Already on the place.
And did you know what was going on in Dachau? Did you know where you were going?
We knew everything was knew what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
To this time, we have done nothing. In the morning, we got up at 4 o'clock and was marching all the day. We got something to eat, but not much. 3 months we didn't do anything. We only was marching. Later on, they put people to work. Zwangsarbeit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But in our time, when I was there only marching. In the morning, you have to go, we have to sing and to march. There was nothing to do.
What were they feeding, and what did they feed?
Sometimes it was no good.
Bread or
Bread, not big ration. People was fighting. Everyone have to get a bigger portion. It was no life at all there.
And you slept in barracks in Dachau?
Barracks on the floor. Yeah.
On the floor. Everyone was on the floor, or there were?
Always on the floor.
Everyone was on the floor.
Everyone.
How many people in each barrack?
100 people.
And what date was this?
What?
What date was this?
What day?
What date? Like
What year was this?
November
What year? 1940.
1938.
What?
November 1938.
39.
Mm-hmm.
38.
So was it cold there when you
It
get
was
there?
very cold. Dachau is very cold.
What time of year was this? What season?
It was in the winter.
Uh-huh.
It was from November to February. It was the coldest time. And Dachau is in Germany, in Switzerland, Bayern.
In the Alps.
Alps.
And you didn't have proper clothing or
But
covers?
Not proper clothes.
Did they give you uniforms?
Yeah, we got uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
What did they look like?
Like you see in the paper, like in the jail they get.
Stripes?
What? Stripe, yeah.
And were the stripes this vertically or horizontal?
This way.
This way.
Yeah.
And did you have any sign or sticker that said that you were a Jew or?
Everyone was a Jew. A stripe on the. No, to this time we didn't have. So later on, you got some tattoos, how you call it?
A tattoo.
Tattoo, yeah.
Like a
Tattoos,
stamp,
yeah.
not a...
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
with-
and you didn't get a tattoo, right? Did
No,
you?
I didn't.
Why didn't you?
It was in the beginning of it. I wasn't too long there. I was only a short time there.
Uh-huh.
So,
Did you get to speak? I mean, I guess you were there for 3 months, so the people spoke to each other there, the prisoners.
yeah.
So you got to know the people there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were corresponding to your parents from
yeah,
Dachau?
only short notice, always. Very short notice.
Mhm. And your parents had sent you back also a letter?
Yeah.
And what did they say?
Short note, didn't say much. It was censored, the mail. They looked over everything. So you know what to write, you know. Have to be very careful what you write.
And was that the last time you heard from them when you were in Dachau?
No, I heard them later. I was still there in Austria when I was in America.
And they were still able to correspond to you then?
Correspondent.
Now you were there for 3 months in
Yeah.
Dachau,
Right.
and then what happened? What?
Then I got a visa to Liberia, and I couldn't go there. But with this visa from Liberia, I could get out of Dachau.
How did you get a visa?
Visa, we paid for it. This time you can buy it. There was a business for people.
So who paid for it? Your parents
My
paid for it?
parents paid for it.
And they mailed it to you? How did you receive it?
They got the visa and they mailed the visa. And
They mailed it to you in Dachau.
not to me, to the office there.
Uh-huh.
To the SS office?
Yeah, SS office. Yeah.
And then how did you find out about that? You were in Dachau and they approached you?
Yeah, I didn't know. Sometimes they called me and says, you can go out, you're free.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that was probably surprising.
Yeah, it was surprising. I was very happy.
Mm-hmm.
And did you know where the rest of your family was at that time? Your two
I was
brothers?
still in Baden.
With your two brothers
Was
as
in
well?
Baden, yeah.
And so, and how did you get back to Baden then?
From Baden, sent us back. Auch without any transport.
Also on the train.
On the
Train
train, yeah.
So from Dachau you went back to Baden?
To Baden, yeah. And I stayed in Baden maybe 3 or 4 weeks. And then we got together. My brothers went out and we get together to Germany. Illegal.
How was that? You paid someone also?
So people made always money during the first time.
Yeah.
So this was going this.
How did you get to Germany? You walked or you had a car?
First with the train, and then we walked over the border.
Where did you walk over the border? At which
From
part?
Germany, from it was a town from Germany. I forgot what it was a town to Antwerp.
No, that was later. That
Belgium,
was
Belgium already.
From Köln.
The Belgium took us together. It was already to this time. Belgium was still free, when people came, when Austrian people, they came and we got housing. We could get rooms in Belgium, and we get to eat in Belgium. It was a big kitchen. It reminded me we go to the senior.
How far a walk of it was it from the train to over the border in Germany?
It was a walk maybe 3-4 hours. Night.
3 hours. Now you were walking at night to be secret, so no one would find you?
Not cheap, but it was safer, because it was all over was the Nazis, the borders and all over was Nazis.
Now you had papers that would allow you to go to Germany?
Yeah, to Germany.
From they were
Germany to Belgium.
But how from Austria to Germany that was illegal?
Everything was illegal.
Everything was illegal. So what did you paid these smugglers?
Smuggler, we paid money.
To physically accompany.
To bring me over to Belgium.
So the smugglers came with you in the train.
Yeah, not in the train. They came to food.
They met you at the train station.
The station, yeah.
And then at night the smugglers walked with you the 3-4 hours over the border.
Sometimes they catch people who walked and they got back to Dachau, It wasn't such an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And in Belgium, there was already Jewish organizations that took us and gave us food, and were very good in Belgium to this time.
Okay.
What did you do in Belgium once you got there?
In Belgium, I've got a choice either to go in a camp or to stay out. And I've sold chocolate to Jewish people, chocolate and tea bags. And so,
How did you get into that?
what?
You didn't tell them.
Well,
You have to tell.
Yeah,
all
no,
the
go ahead.
details, yeah. About when you walked or when you went across the border, how you lost.
I lost my twin.
This is from the border from Austria to Germany?
I've got
Into Belgium.
Into Belgium, okay.
what do you have there?
It's a reflection.
On the border, there was a time we were talking, the Deutschen kommen, so everything has to put away. So I've got my twin in my bag with an Aktentasche. So I threw
With
it
a what?
out with a bag.
Case.
Attaché case, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I threw it out. And when I came to Belgium, I was without anything. So I went to the rabbi there. We've got the assistant rabbi from Belgium, from Austria, from Baden, was in Belgium already. He was by his brother-in-law. He was the chief rabbi from Antwerp.
What was
Rabbi
his name?
Rottenberg. Was a very famous man. Und dieser Badener Rabbi gave me an introduction to this rabbi, and I got film there for me.
When you were crossing the border, what did you take with besides your tefillin?
I've got things for 2-3 days, shirt and socks.
Did you have any money?
Money was nothing, I think. I
Maybe
came to
10
Belgium
marks.
without. But
Maybe 10 marks.
I don't think so.
And food? Did you have any food?
Food, we got something from the smugglers. They gave us something to eat.
How many people were with you during
I
this
think
trip?
8-10 people.
8-10 plus the smugglers.
Yeah,
How many of them were? How many smugglers?
One or two.
One or two.
The smugglers.
Were they nice to
What?
you? Were the smugglers nice? They were doing their job.
How did you get into the chocolate business?
What?
How did you get into the chocolate business?
No,
to sell chocolate?
I've got some connection in Belgium. People who know.
Where did you know them from?
What?
You knew them from Baden?
From Baden, from Vienna. There were people there who already lived in Belgium. And other people have done the same, you know.
With the same smugglers.
Not smugglers, to peddle with chocolate or with tea bags.
And you were able to make enough money
I
to...
didn't need what I got. To eat I got from the kitchen. It was a kitchen, a general kitchen. And I could as through and start something for breakfast, you know.
No, wait, I'm still a step behind. When you went from Austria to Germany, how long were you then in Germany?
In Germany it was very short.
Very short.
Very short.
And then
In Belgium it was 1 year. Yeah.
So and now Germany, you also weren't allowed to be there, obviously.
Huh?
Yes.
So it was the smugglers were with you the whole way through until you got.
No, not. They brought us to Belgium.
They brought you to.
Then the Jewish organization took over the people and took
Okay.
care of them.
Mm-hmm. Now you were in Germany for a matter of days or weeks or.
In Germany only a few days.
A few days.
Yeah.
And where did you stay when you were in Germany?
In Germany, I think I was in Köln by my uncle.
Oh, you actually stayed with someone there.
My uncle was living there in Köln.
This was your
Because
uncle Leo.
But
No.
he came to here.
Leo was a cousin. That was
Leo was the
Leo's
cousin.
father.
His father, yeah.
And mother.
Leo's father. This is the one who swam with you.
No,
Huh?
Leo's
No,
father.
Leo's father, okay.
Leo was the guy who was swimming.
Okay, so this is Leo's father.
Father, yeah.
Okay.
What was his name?
Isidor Felter.
Weissmann.
Mm.
And from there you went to Belgium.
Belgium, yeah.
And how did you get across the border?
To the smugglers.
Another group of smugglers.
No, only
The
one
same
group.
smugglers.
So where were the smugglers when you were staying with your uncle?
No, they went back again.
They didn't stay with your uncle.
They have nothing to do with
No,
your
wait a
uncle.
minute.
What?
You were not smuggled into Germany. You could go by
No,
yourself.
from Germany to
But
Belgium.
from Austria to Germany was free. You
Free,
could go.
certainly was.
From Austria to Germany because it was all under Nazi control.
Your
Yeah.
father-
So there you just went.
From Germany to Belgium, I was smuggled.
I see, okay. So from Austria to Germany, you just took a train.
Right.
And the train just went. And you got off at the train stop. And then from the train, you went to your uncle
Yeah.
in Germany.
In Köln. Köln. You heard about Cologne?
Cologne.
Cologne, okay.
Cologne. Beautiful town.
And you stayed with your uncle for a few
For
days.
A few days.
And your uncle knew that you were supposed to come there.
Everything.
Did your uncle know that you were coming?
Yeah, certainly.
How did he know?
You could write to him.
You could write to him. Mm-hmm.
And where were your brothers at this time when you
What?
went? When you went to your uncle
Yeah.
in Germany, where were your brothers? They were still in Baden,
No,
they
they
were
were
with you.
together with me.
and they went together with you also to
To
Belgium.
Belgium, yeah.
And what were they doing in Belgium?
One was a shoemaker. He worked on shoes and earned his money. And the other one was peddling too something. But I got the affidavit and I went to America.
And when you were in Belgium, where did you sleep?
We've got an apartment.
You had to rent an apartment?
Room.
You rented a room with your two brothers?
With the two brothers.
How long were you in?
One year.
You said that already, right?
I went to America. My brothers was sent to South France. To France.
To camp.
France, Marseille. They were sent to Marseille. From there,
Where's that
Sent
picture?
to-
I
what?
didn't find that. I didn't find that
So
picture.
they went from Belgium to France.
France. Was sent to France.
They were sent to France by who?
But she took her. It was before Belgium was invaded. Then they came to France too.
So now you were still in Belgium when the Nazis came to Belgium?
No.
You had already left for America.
It's the last ship I went away to America.
You were the last ship before the Nazis invaded Belgium.
No, they were in Belgium already, I think.
And did you have to pay to go on the ship, or was free?
Yeah, you have to pay.
Where did you have money?
Money.
You
I
borrowed it
don't know.
from
I
a
got
friend.
some money. Yeah, I collected money from people there
You collected people from in Belgium.
in Belgium. Yeah.
And
Once you already had your visa, you collected the
What?
money. Once you already had your visa, you started collecting the money?
I don't get it.
In order to collect the money, you had to show people that you had a visa to go to America.
Yeah, I have to show people. I went to people, famous people, some rich people, and everyone gave me something. I didn't get the whole amount. I got only a part. And the other part gave the Jewish organization, gave the other part.
Was it a nice Jewish community?
Huh?
Was it a nice Jewish community in
Belgium,
Belgium?
Antwerpen, beautiful community. It's now again a beautiful community.
Now you heard when you were on the ship, you heard that the Nazis invaded Belgium, or when did you find out?
Yeah, when I came to America. I found out.
When you came to America, you found out. Mhm. And did you hear from your brothers after that, or that was the last?
I got some letters and I tried to get affidavits. I sent affidavits.
Mm.
Oh,
So you got letters from them
yeah, but
when you were in America. For how long after that?
very short time, I think 2 years, 1 year. I don't know.
And then how did you know they were sent to France?
Well, I heard about it. I didn't get anything anymore. Then I heard from the organization that they were sent away.
There was, and the organization, the Jewish organization, told you
Jewish
that,
organization.
and they told you where they were sent.
Yeah, I went to Auschwitz.
And your parents?
Parents went to Poland somewhere. So I didn't.
They went to Poland from Baden.
No, from
No.
from Baden.
To
so,
Latvia,
yeah.
to
I
Riga.
don't know what they were in between.
They went first to Riga?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Riga,
they never
so.
made it.
Yeah.
They died on trip.
So your parents were. When you were in Belgium, your parents were still in Baden.
I'm still in Baden.
And then when did they go? When did they leave Baden?
I think a year after.
A year after you had left Belgium?
After I was in America. Already.
So when you were in America, you were still communicating with them in Baden?
Yeah, I sent affidavits.
Right.
Everything was too late.
And where did they go from Baden?
I think to Riga.
To Riga.
Because, I
No,
don't
no.
know.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
They were sent to Vienna from Baden.
Okay.
Baden was made Judenrein. They
Okay.
cleaned out the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
They were living in Vienna. And there they were, later on, we don't know exactly, when put on a train, and we believe they died on the train.
Mm-hmm. Now you said your brothers were sent to France. Is that right?
From south to southern France.
To France. And then from there to Auschwitz?
From there they went to Auschwitz, then to Auschwitz.
They were in a camp in southern France?
Yes.
Yeah.
2 camps.
Okay.
Mhm.
Which camps, do you know?
I lose the name.
I couldn't find the picture. I was looking for that though.
Now, you were on the ship to America. How long was the trip to America?
3 or 4 days.
Was it a big ship?
It was a big ship.
How many people were on the ship?
I don't know, 400.
Mm-hmm.
There was plenty food on the ship.
Who?
There was food.
Yeah.
Food, yeah.
Enough food.
Even kosher food we got.
Who from the Jewish organization?
Yeah, well, I
We
don't
don't
know.
know.
The kasher was kosher.
The
Uh-huh.
US about the father.
Mm-hmm. And then you arrived in America.
In America.
When was that? That was
And 21st of March 1940.
1940, March
Yeah.
21st, 1940. And what was your initial impression of America? Was it a lot different than Europe?
It was very hot.
It was hot.
Yeah.
In March?
Hard.
Oh, hard.
Difficult.
Yeah.
It was a very hot summer. It was very hot.
Oh,
The
the
summer
It was hot.
Very hot.